Hey, what's up, guys? It's Trainer Kyle coming at you live again from my local GNC, just kicking it up here with my roommate over here at JParker025. He's doing a little bit of work in here, so I'm going to kill a few minutes until he gets off. And what I wanted to do was talk to you guys about the idea of clean eating and my thoughts on that. And there are 3 points I really want to make about clean eating. One being, first of all, what do I think about the term as describing food? Second of all, why I don't think that it should really be that important to you in terms of fat loss. And third, what do I think is a result of somebody's mission to eat clean? What do I think actually happens when somebody worries too much about eating clean? So those are 3 things I want to hit on. So number one, I don't really like the term clean to describe food. I think it's kind of foolish. And there are a couple reasons why. The biggest thing it baffles me is that if you ask, 5 different, quote, clean eaters, I think they will all give you a different definition as to what clean is. So what is a clean food? So the fact that there's absolutely no consensus in the fitness community as to what defines a clean food, to me just makes the whole thing kind of goofy. For instance, for example, you'll have your clean eaters who think that carbs are bad, your clean eaters who think that fat is bad, your clean eaters who think that any quantity of sugar is bad, who think that you have your paleo dieters who think that all grains are bad, the people who say that you cannot eat any quantity of this kind of food or that kind of food and still lose fat. All of this to me is just kind of ridiculous. And then you have the extremely ridiculous claims. People will say things like, oh, well, I'm trying to eat clean and avoid sugar, so I'm going to eat nothing but fruit. Or I'm trying to avoid carbs, so I'm only going to eat clean things like fruit. Think just these retarded ideas. So I don't like the term clean to describe food. I would describe clean food, I guess, as a piece of chicken that you sprayed Lysol on or something. I don't know, something that cleans it. I don't know. So I don't like the definition clean to describe food, first of all. The second point I want to make is why I don't think that you should be concerned about eating clean if you're trying to lose fat. Because I think the fundamental misunderstanding that people have is that fat loss is a result of eating clean. All right? There's the widespread belief that if I eat the right, quote, clean foods, and if I eat them frequently throughout the day, every 2 to 3 hours, and do cardio, I'll lose fat. And that is just fundamentally incorrect, because at the end of the day, what actually determines fat loss is your caloric deficit, or the fact that you are eating less calories than you need to eat. So that is what determines fat loss. It's not necessarily the quality or the cleanliness of the food that you're eating. It is actually the amount of food that you ate that day. And I think this is the #1 reason why many people I've worked with and that I've talked to fail to achieve their fat loss goals, is because they think that as long as they're eating the right types of foods, the clean foods, that they can just eat and eat and eat and they'll lose body fat. And people, I think, understand that, yeah, to lose fat you have to eat less than you burn off. Everybody understands that. They say, oh yeah, that's common sense. But then they ignore that when they go to put it in practice in their diet. They ignore that and say, oh, well, I'm snacking, I'm eating everything, but as long as what I'm eating is clean, it's good. I tell people all the time that you can get just as fat off of broccoli and oatmeal and brown rice and chicken as you can off of ice cream and pizza and Pop-Tarts, okay? It's not that food is inherently clean or dirty. Your body doesn't recognize that. It recognizes macronutrient profiles of foods. How many grams of protein, how many grams of fat, how many grams of carbs are in that food that you're eating. So for example, something like McDonald's is, quote, unhealthy because it has a tremendously high amount of protein, or usually fat, and carbs in that food. If you eat McDonald's in moderation and control your intake, you can still very effectively lose fat. Eating small quantities of your favorite snack foods, maybe like a Pop-Tart, a cookie, or, one small cheeseburger, things like that. You can do that and still lose fat very effectively, even though those are not considered, quote, clean foods. So again, second thing I disagree with is the misconception that fat loss is a result of clean eating. And there's a great documentary done about this. If you've ever seen the movie Super Size Me, where Morgan Spurlock eats all kind of McDonald's and gets fat and turns his body into terrible shape, there's a response to that documentary called Downsize Me, where a fitness enthusiast named Chaz Weaver goes on the same mission and eats McDonald's every single day, 3 times a day for 30 days straight, and is still able to actually lose a little bit of body fat and maintain a healthy body, healthy physique. And that, again, that documentary is called Downsize Me. So if you wanted to see that, it's on YouTube. Search Chaz Weaver's Downsize Me. All right, so the fundamental belief that clean eating results in fat loss, that is incorrect. Fat loss is a result of maintaining a caloric deficit. All right, so that brings me to my third point. Since eating clean does not result in losing fat, it shouldn't necessarily be your main goal. The problem is that it is most people's main goal. Most people think that they have to eat clean in order to lose fat, and they have to eat every 2 to 3 hours to fuel their metabolism, and that's just not true. And what this does, in my mind, the biggest negative side effect of this clean eating fad is that I think in the long run it leads to, and I've seen this over and over and over in people I've worked with and people I know and talk to, it leads to eating disorders. People like to think of eating disorders as, I binge, I starve myself, I purge, all of those things, yes, but also there's an eating disorder called orthorexia, or the obsession with eating what you believe to be healthy. And these people will obsess over eating, the right foods, eating broccoli and chicken and rice and oatmeal and fruit, to the extent to which it drives them absolutely insane. And they feel as if they eat anything else, then they will die and implode and get fat, and they will hate their life, and that everybody will hate them, and that, everything is just over for them in life. And I don't agree with that. I don't think that that is the purpose of the fitness lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle. I want you to, if you haven't seen my video titled "What is Fitness?", look through the rest of my videos and watch that video. I make the point that fitness has 2 goals. One goal of fitness is to be physically fit, obviously, how your body functions, how strong you are, etc. And the other goal in fitness is to be mentally healthy, to have a very good outlook and how do you feel emotionally. And I think that clean eating takes away, to a large extent, a lot of people's emotional well-being. They drive themselves crazy, stressing over what, in my mind, is not the most important part of fat loss. So again, it creates this negative emotional tension in people, which I think in a lot of cases causes burnout. People say, man, I just can't stick to this lifestyle. I can't do this every day, and I'm gonna fail ultimately. I ate something terrible again today, and I suck at life. It should not be that way. Fitness is something that is designed or intended to make you happy, to make you physically fit, emotionally sound, and enjoy your life overall. And I think if you obsess over the wrong things, you will never be able to achieve that goal. So what I practice is moderation and understanding how the body works. Understand that as long as you're in a caloric deficit, you can lose weight regardless of how clean your foods are. Now, that's not to say that I'm advocating you eat McDonald's and ice cream every day. Of course you should strive to eat enough protein, enough fat, get enough micronutrient-dense foods, and get enough fiber. But at the end of the day, if you are getting enough of all of these different macronutrients and micronutrients, there's no reason why you could not indulge in one cookie or one small serving of a snack food just to keep yourself from going mad. So again, 3 big things. Clean eating, defined, makes absolutely no sense. clean eating is not what will result in fat loss. It's not the determining factor of how much fat you lose. And third, I think it creates bad habits. It creates orthorexia. It leads to emotional stress in a lot of people. And I just don't think that that's beneficial for you in terms of meeting your goals in the long run. I think the only time, and I said this in the What is Fitness video, the only time where it's acceptable for anybody to stress hardcore over their diet and their lifestyle is if they're preparing to step on stage and compete in bodybuilding or figure or bikini or anything like that. And that does not fit most of you guys out there. So having said that, do what makes you happy, practice moderation, and in the long run, that will allow you to see your goals met over time. Right? It obviously takes a very long time to achieve any significant goals, but in my opinion, that is the best way to go about it. So I hope you like that advice. Please like the video down at the bottom, subscribe to my channel at the top. Please ask me questions. Follow me on Twitter. It's @TrainerKyle. Hope you liked it. I will see you guys later.